The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. There was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran short, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servers, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stone water jars there for Jewish ceremonial washings, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told them, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Draw some out now and take it to the headwaiter." So they took it. And when the headwaiter tasted the water that had become wine, without knowing where it came from, although the servers who had drawn the water knew, the headwaiter called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves good wine first, and then when people have drunk freely, an inferior one. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this as the beginning of his signs at Cana in Galilee, and so revealed his glory, and his disciples began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord. So you have a friend. You say, "What are you doing this weekend?" He says, "I've got to work." You say, "Where are you working?" He says, "Well, we've got a catering thing going on. I'm going to be a bartender." You say, "Okay, great. Where is it?" He says, "Oh, it's a wedding down the road, a place called Cana." And your buddy goes down and witnesses what is arguably the most famous wedding in history. He didn't expect it, just doing his daily work. Yes, he knew Jesus who was there, but Jesus was always in the neighborhood. No big deal there. And yet Jesus, at the wedding feast of Cana, was ready to perform the first of his signs. "What did you do on Sunday?" "I went to church." "Oh, okay. Anything interesting?" "Nah, church, you know." "Was Jesus there?" "Oh yeah, he's always there." "Jesus is there?" "Oh, you know, church stuff." "Whoa, you got Jesus at your church?" Yeah, you know, we sort of believe that." "Did anything happen?" "No, it's church." Even though Jesus came walking past. Tonight, it might just be the case that several of us are like those waiters, those bartenders at the wedding feast of Cana 2,000 years ago. We have Jesus in a box. We know what he does when he comes here, which is basically nothing. And that's what we're expecting. But perhaps Jesus is expecting something more. Yesterday during the afternoon, I was doing my rounds, visiting 3 people, and 2 of them were elderly women. Neither were parishioners, they're relatives of parishioners. And in a powerful way, Jesus showed up for these 2 elderly women. I can't say much about the first one, it involved confession, but the second one was a remarkable visit. Her sister had asked me to stop over and see her. She was 87 years old. And she had been away from the church for more than 40 years. There were issues. And we sat there, the 3 of us, talked, prayed. We had the beautiful anointing of the sick for her, and then Holy Communion. And as she received Holy Communion for the first time in all those decades, she wept and wept And as she wept, she apologized. I should be crying. And she said something I won't forget. She said, I just wasn't expecting this. Jesus Christ showed up at her small apartment up Century Avenue. And for the first time in 40 years, it was a sign he revealed to her. This is the wedding feast of Cana. Not water into wine, but something even greater. Bread and wine becoming the very body and blood, the soul and divinity of Jesus Christ. And think about it at that famous wedding. I can imagine those waiters went to their friends there and said, "Did you see what happened? Water went in and wine came out." And I'm guessing that at least some of the people there said, you just screwed it up somehow. Somebody poured wine, where all that kind of thing. The same thing can happen here tonight. Here at this Mass, here at every Mass, Catholics come into church grumpy and leave grumpy. They come in fearful and they leave just the same. And their arms are folded, even if someone to the left or to the right would say, something important happened in me tonight at this Mass. Who of us would say to our children, to our friends who are here, "Oh, yuck, shut up, it's just church"? Every once in a while, Jesus has a sign of his power, a sign of his love, a sign of his mercy. And you can't predict when it will happen any more than that bartender could predict he would watch water become wine in Cana. But if it happens to you, when it happens to you, do not leave your arms folded. Do not harumph. Do not be proud that you can somehow ignore the presence of Jesus Christ. Because he is here. Catholics, I would rather you say, "I don't believe it," and go down to the Baptist church. But if you believe it, believe it. And believe that the same Jesus who showed up at the wedding feast of Cana shows up here at this altar and gives himself to you. Believe it. This is the wedding of Cana. This is greater than Cana.